The Forest Health and Fuels Reduction Project is a long-term, 5-year, 300-acre, multi-partner project.
This is, I think, a very important project for the future of the county and for the future of the neighborhood, particularly in Summit Park. For years, I've been very concerned about wildfire exposures to some of our WUI, that's the wildland-urban interface areas of the county. And Summit Park is one of the major problems that we see.
Basin, like a lot of land managers in the western U.S., is dealing with a legacy of hands-off forest management where fire suppression was the norm, and it allowed for a lot of fuels to build up in forests, and of course we're no exception.
The work that Basin Recreation has done is they have modeled what most wildland-urban interface communities should be doing right now.
The benefit to the forest is that this would preserve the natural resources and the ecosystem services that it provides to the community. In reducing the fuels and rearranging the fuels, it prevents fires from becoming catastrophic. One of the main activities is reducing ladder fuels.
When you think of a ladder, you climb a ladder from the bottom up, right? So a fire, as it crawls along the ground, fire goes up, heat goes up. And a ladder fuel is something that makes it easier for that to happen. So if you think of a fire creeping along the ground and then it comes to a bush, then that bush can catch on fire. Now the fire is a little bit further up off the ground, and then it extends into the lower branches of the trees, and then it goes into the higher branches of the trees. So those are ladder fuels.
So thinning forests is a tool that is used to get the forest back into its original state. So historically, low-intensity fires would be part of the management that would naturally occur in forests. Since our suppression of forests for the last 80 to 100 years, it's been necessary to do some forest health thinning to help get rid of those forest fuels.
It's introducing man-made disruptions to the forest, which helps revitalize everything and bring it back to a natural state.
A shaded fuel break is put in a place where it's beneficial. If there were a fire happening in a particular area, the shaded fuel break would not stop the fire, but it would change the behavior of the fire. It would help slow it down.
Patch cutting is a natural mosaic technique that is designed to mimic natural fire. When a natural fire comes through, embers drop in different areas in a forest and they burn out patches while it goes. So a patch cut is just creating a small clearing in the forest to mimic that mosaic that would occur during a natural fire.
A healthy forest is not a forest that we look up on our hills and we see just huge swaths of green everywhere. We don't want to see that. We want to see clumps and clusters.
So thinning operations is another treatment where selectively cutting trees in areas to separate out the more dominant trees, get rid of that smaller understory, and allow for more moisture and sunlight to hit the ground.
A lot of the forests that we have are just so dense because of the overgrowth of underbrush, or also just the unrestrained growth of trees within those forests, that it's so dense it's not healthy.
So both of the properties that were treated reside within the Weber watershed. Those are the headwaters to the water source for thousands and millions of people that live downstream. So part of our responsibility as being land managers is to take care of the watershed. When wildfires come through forests, there's a tendency for the soils to actually stop taking up water. They become hydrophobic. That can create mudslides, that can create debris in our streams, and that all goes downstream and creates problems for our drinking water supply. This project is located within the wildland-urban interface, or the WUI. Everybody who's in the WUI has a responsibility to do their part. As we all know, wildfire sees no boundaries. It's not just going to stop at the edge of the Basin open space. Because this project is located within the WUI area, the pledge is something that we're asking the community to take with us. Community members are encouraged to reach out to their local HOAs and learn about fire-wise practices to protect their own homes.
If a little bit is done now, it saves a lot of trauma down the road.
When it comes to wildland fire protection, the best thing you can do for your own property is just do something. The basic idea is keep stuff off your roof. If you have needles or leaf debris on your roof, take that down. Check your gutters. Make sure there's nothing in there that can catch on fire. If you have trees over your house, keep those trees at least 10 feet away from a chimney. And then on the ground side of things, remove all dead and dying material that's within the first 5 feet of your house. Your bushes that you've had there for years, get underneath and pull out whatever's landed there over the past winter. Check under your deck. Make sure that you don't have flammable things under your deck. You know, your deck is part of your house. If your deck catches on fire, it can easily extend into your house as well.
Well, by not doing anything, relying on insurance to cover your home, you could pose a detrimental effect to the whole neighborhood. The third and fourth home down the road have done all this great work, but because of their neighbors surrounding them, it doesn't do any good. It doesn't take much to accomplish a lot. It's an exercise in conscientiousness.
I am very honored and humbled that we have received the National Wildfire Mitigation Award from the National State Forestry Division. It's the highest honor that any project of this type can receive.
If we prepare for wildfire before it happens, then when it happens, it's much, much, much smaller. And honestly, our community we are a pretty safe community. We've done a great job as a community in preparing our area for wildfire. That's not to say there's still not a lot to be done, but we deserve at least a little bit of a pat on the back because our community is absolutely awesome.